All right. So risk identification. When we say risk identification, what do we mean? We've already talked about the risk management process, and risk identification was the first one. Now, when we say that risk identification, this involves identifying potential risks that could affect the objectives of the organization or the project that we are talking about. Now, there are two main types of risk identification. We can have internal factors, external factors. Also, we can have regulatory changes. We can have economic conditions and also natural disasters. Now, when we are talking about internal factors, what we are talking about is that we are talking about risks that stems from internal factors within the organization. When we talk about external, we are talking about risks that stems out from external sources outside the organization. Now, the internal factors include the people, the systems, and the processes. There could be weaknesses or deficiencies in the cybersecurity policies and our procedures. There is also insider threats, human error, or even inadequate training for staff. Now, the systems always have vulnerabilities that are involved. There are software vulnerabilities, there are certain hardware that have vulnerabilities, and there are certain software that needs to be updated. And all these are potential internal factors that we can use to be able to identify risks. External factors are originating from outside the organization. We can talk about cyber attacks and all the cyber attacks we talked in our previous video. Regulatory changes. We are talking about changing our laws, changing the regulations. When there are certain changes and the industry standards are changing, it could also be potential risks also to organization. Then economic conditions, economic factors that may affect cybersecurity investments and priorities. Whereas natural disasters has always been one of those constant things that affects our organization and are always potential threats to our organization. Now let's move to the next one, that is risk estimation. Risk estimation. Now, after we have done with our identification, we'll come to risk estimation. An estimation methodology can be either qualitative or quantitative. What do we mean by qualitative and quantitative? Qualitative means that we are estimating the risks based on words. So it uses a scale of qualifying attributes to describe the magnitude of the potential consequences, whether it's a low, moderate, or high or critical, and the likelihood that those consequences will occur. Quantitative estimation has to do with using a scale with numerical values for both consequences and likelihood, using data from a variety of sources. So you could say that, okay, when it comes to quantitative, you are saying that a scale of 1 to 5 or a scale of 1 to 7. We need to be able to estimate this to be able to give us an idea of how to do our risk evaluation. And therefore, now let's move to what risk evaluation is. Now, during the risk evaluation phase, decisions must be made concerning which risk needs treatment. And the treatment prioritizes based on the foregoing analysis. So based on our analysis, we are going to determine whether we should address risk A first or risk B first, risk C or risk D. Contractual or legal regulatory requirements are also factors that should be considered when we are also going through the risk evaluation. Now, our risk evaluation also uses the understanding of the risks obtained by risk analysis to make sensitive decisions about the future actions and what kind of actions to be taken. After we have estimated to see that if it's a low, moderate, or high, now we have to make a decision. Okay, now let's address this. But we have factors we have to look at before we can go or undertake any decision. And the priority for risk treatment, considering the estimated level of the risk.